What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel today. I've had a lot of questions asking, mainly, hey, what does it cost for me to build one of the ZR1500 trucks? Or what does it cost for me to bring a truck to you and do the same stuff you did on the ZL1500 truck? I'm just curious. Well, there's a lot of money in these trucks, guys. These are not just take a truck, wham bam, swap an engine in it, and hit the road. These are full off frame off builds. So I am going to make a video for y'all today explaining about what and why everything costs as much as it does for one of these ZR1500 or ZL1500 builds. So make sure you watch this whole video because I'm going to explain to you all the parts involved and what everything costs individually. So let's get to it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to let you know whenever I post a new video. Okay, I brought the ZR1500 to my house, and next to it is the ZL1500. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see both trucks in action here. But also, guys, there's the C7. A lot of you asked, where the Z06 went that we had on the channel about 8 months ago. Well, it's sitting right here. I do not have the gray Z06 anymore. Or the gray C7 is what I call it, the Pro Charger car. It has been gone for 2 years now. So this is kind of what replaced the C7 void in my heart. But let's get to it. So here we have the ZR1500 truck, which this is the latest truck on the channel that we have built at Killer Performance, which is my shop that I co-own with Curtis. And then this is the ZL1500 truck, which we had previously built about a year ago on the channel, almost a year ago to the date between these two trucks. So I'm going to explain basically going over the truck, kind of just like, hey, this part costs this, hey, this part costs this, and then go over the labor and then everything else that we do to make these trucks as cool as they are. So first off, we're going to start with the ZL1500 truck. This is a 1993 Silverado. This is an original paint truck. Yes, guys, this was a low mile original paint truck. The reason why I start with the original paint trucks is because I don't have to do body work. I don't have to do rust repair. I don't have to do any of that stuff. The interior is perfect. So that's why I start with a good low miles truck, because I feel that if I buy a project truck, a truck that's got a lot of miles, a truck that's got a lot of paint work, a lot of rust, I'm going to be ending up spending more money making that truck look as good as this one does, and it's not going to be original. It's cool when I can pull up to a show in this truck and say, yeah, this paint right here is the original paint from 1993, or hey, this interior in this truck is the original interior from 1993. It just adds value to the truck. So that's why I choose the low mile ones and don't start with the basically piles of junk. So let's get right to it, guys. ZL1500 build. This build for this truck is going to run you about $85,000 plus a truck. And that is if your truck is in good shape. So this truck was a 50,000 original mile truck that I found in Iowa. It was basically a one owner truck, just beautiful when I bought it. And it was a perfect candidate to do this swap on. On the exterior, on the ZL trucks, ZR trucks, I color match everything, kind of make it look like a sport truck. So this truck, for instance, we did front and rear bumpers from LMC truck, the paint to match ones. We had them painted. We also did the sport grill that is a paint to match grill from LMC truck, and then have it painted. Basically, front and rear bumpers, you're looking about $400. The grill, you're looking at another $100, and then to paint everything, you're looking at about another $450. So that totals that up. Headlights. We just replaced basically with an aftermarket headlight. Figure $100 for headlights. Clear corners, another $50. Not bad. This truck that I bought had a cow hood, which we put a stock hood on there. So we put a LMC truck, kind of a replica hood, and then we had it clear brawled when we got it all finished. By the time you bought the hood, paint, and everything, you figure about another $650. All right, bed. This truck had a great bed in it. It did have some scratches on the bottom because it had a mat in there from basically whenever it was new. So what I did was the size of the bed were perfect. You can't ever have original perfect paint beds once they're scratched up. So I wanted to keep that originality with the bed, but we did a spray-in bed liner on the very bottom of it, and I think it turned out really nice. I don't have to worry about a bed mat blowing around when I'm doing 130 plus miles an hour. So that right here didn't cost us anything, but this was $400 to get done. Next, we'll move into the interior. So the interior in this truck and all the ZL, ZR builds, we try to keep it pretty stock. We want to keep the truck kind of what it would have been like if it would have came with this stuff from the factory. That's kind of my recipe for these trucks. So really the only thing that we change on the inside is we run a billet specialty steering wheel. That way we can run these awesome billet shifter paddles for the 10-speed transmission. And then we make it all work with a Dakota digital automotive dash. So basically that's $1,250. Steering wheel, we're looking at another, I believe, $650 by the time you buy everything. And then the paddles, we have $600 in the paddles. So there's the interior for the ZL1500 truck. This is obviously something that I did on this truck. These are actually 454 SS seats that are in gray. Yes, these are super, super, super rare seats that we put in the ZL1500 truck. Really cool. I may actually even switch them into this truck since it actually does kind of mimic a SS truck. Next, we move on to the mirrors. We did the 454 SS mirrors. These you can buy used. These are actual metal ones, OE mirrors. You can usually pick them up for $300 or $400 online if you can find a set. And then by the time you paint them, you'll have another $150 in that. So figure $250, $300 for a set of mirrors. Then we move on to the brakes and the wheels and the tires. So we use the forged Weld wheels. Now they do have another line out, the Ventura line, that is a cast. You can buy those wheels for about $1,200 a set if they're in a 20. These are the forged version, however, because the trucks deserve fine wine. So we buy the good stuff for the trucks. You can buy a set of these wheels, 20 by 10, 20 by 8 in the front. From Weld, it's about 8-week build time, but these run about $5,000 a set. Plus a set of tires are going to run you about another $1,500. So you figure $6,500 in wheels and tires. Then we get to the brakes. So these are the little shop brakes for a 15-inch rear wheel, so we can run all the way down to a 15-inch wheel if we're going racing. So we do that disc brake conversion, but the fronts gets a little bigger up here. So these are the 16-inch Willwood brakes. These basically for all four are going to run you about $5,000, give or take, if you do the 14s in the back, add a few more, or if you do the small ones that we have on this truck, figure about $5,000 for a set of brakes. All right, now we start getting into where a lot of the money is. When you pop the hood on one of these trucks, you'll notice everything looks very modern. It looks like it came this way from the factory, all the way down from the air intake to the blower fluid reservoir, which holds a lot extra. You can also put ice in it. We got our methanol tank, which was actually used to be the washer fluid tank. And then, of course, we have the heart of everything that makes it all work. In this case, is an LT4 engine. You can't just put one of these motors in these trucks and expect everything to work and live. So what we do is we build everything else around it as well. So when we take one of these trucks, we do a factory 454 SS radiator. There's a really good radiator for what they are. And then we run a dual electric fan combo. We obviously get rid of the mechanical fan. For one, these engines don't even have that, but it just looks a lot cleaner too. Figure about $450 for the radiator and another $500 for a set of fans. Also, the blower has a heat exchanger. So we have a factory heat exchanger in the ZL1500 truck off a ZL1 Camaro. Factory heat exchanger is going to run you about $300. And you got to have a blower intercooler pump on there as well. So figure about another $150 for that. Here we have a Cordis Performance. This is a C7 5-inch intake. These run $750 from Cordis Performance. Obviously, we modify them a little bit to make them work for the trucks, but still the price is the price. So $750 for that. Then we have the Cordis Performance. This is a C7 expansion tank that's actually made for the Z06s, but it fits right at home on these trucks that we build. This tank is $700, and it does come with some of the fittings and hoses. Obviously, this is a different application than what they build them for, so we do have to modify a little bit. That is a Motion Raceworks catch can. Motion Raceworks catch can comes with the lines and the fittings for about $350. Then we have the LT4 here. This LT4 crate motor is going to run you about $16,000. This one is not stock though, however. We have done some modifications to this, which kind of makes it kind of tailored to the ZL packages. This one's got a Joker's ported blower, $1,500. It's also powder coated at $300. Also, we did the taller lid, add $750. Powder coated at $30 with the color match, not $30, $300. Then we have a 103 throttle body here, $750. Upper pulley, $325. Then we have a lower pulley down there, which runs you about $650. Then we do a cam and DOD to lead on these. Cam and DOD to lead is going to run you about $2,000, give or take, on labor and parts. We're running Motion Raceworks billet valve covers on here. Those run you about $700 by the time you buy the coil, brackets, and everything else. Then we get down to the headers. Headers actually are not really bad. They're priced about $350 for the swap headers that we use, but we may be going to a different brand here pretty soon. Then you got a front drive kit, because why? Well, these LT motors don't come with power steering, and obviously you want to change up everything. They set in a different frame, so everything's going to be different. This is a Drive Junkie front drive kit that's going to run you about $3,000. Underneath the truck, I know it's hard to show you guys because the trucks are on the ground, but I'm just going to kind of go over some things with you. Underneath the truck, we have a 10L90E, which is going to run you about $4,500. Then the drive shaft is a slip joint drive shaft. It's going to run you about $1,400 for that. Of course, you don't want to have the stock rear end in there, so when we do the rear ends on these, we actually use the factory 10 bolt, but we do build them up. The full build kit with us is going to run you about $3,000 by the time you do everything to it with the powder coating. And then to put all this power to the ground, we run a QA1 full coilover suspension kit that's going to run you about $6,000. To get the fuel system done, the fuel system is basically we use an Aeromotive on this one. We used a Holley on the ZR, but they're both about the same thing, same price point. It's going to run you about $400 for the fuel system. But these are not stock. So we actually beef up the fuel system and we run a DSX low side as well. That's going to run you about $1,000 for the DSX low side. Then we actually, on these level 3 trucks, we get rid of the factory steering and we put a rack and pinion steering in from Elevated Concepts. That's going to run you about $2,000 there. Then, let's see here, bracing. We run an Elevated Concepts mid brace, which actually acts as a transmission mount as well. That's going to run you about $750 plus powder coat and install. When we do these trucks, we completely disassemble the whole frame. We take the cab off, the bed off, everything. We have the frame sandblasted and powder coated. That's going to run you about $1,500 for just the powder coating and sandblasting. To put one of these trucks all together is about 230 hours of labor. And that's being very, I guess, very conservative on the labor as well. I mean, it's very fair. It probably does take us a little bit longer, but we are getting quicker with the more trucks that we do. Figure about $120 an hour labor, which is very, very fair for a shop like ours. So $125 times 230 hours. You guys can do the math. I'll put it at the bottom. That is what you're looking at for labor to build one of these trucks start to finish. There's a lot of wiring involved. Speaking of wiring, we use SpearTech for the harness. SpearTech harness for the LT4 swap is going to run you about $3,500. It also comes with the computers and all that jazz. Then if you notice on the ZL1500 truck, there's a lot of things that have been powder coated and made to look nice. We powder coat the wheel liners black. We powder coat the full core support, all the hood hinges, all that good stuff. Basically, for powder coating on one of our builds, it's going to run you about $2,000 to $2,500 depending on everything that you do. Now the hood here, we use an Eddy Motorsports billet hood hinge. These run about $500 for a pair. One more thing that we do to kind of make everything cool with the factory column shift is we run a low carb flexible shift linkage, which goes down to the 10-speed. That's going to run you about $250. So let's move over here to the ZR1500. Now that you kind of see what the level 3 ZL1500 build is going to cost you. And this is what a level 3 ZR1500 build. And when I say ZR1500, basically the big difference is we utilize an LT5 engine on this truck. And also we use a level 3 QA1 suspension kit as well. Basically the difference on that is quite a bit actually. So an LT5 is going to run you about double what an LT4 does. An LT5 right now is going to run you about $30,000. And then the wiring harness. So the wiring harness is a lot more expensive. You're looking at $6,500 for the SpearTech LT5 10-speed combo wiring harness, because the LT5 actually utilizes port and DI injection, and they run a Holley computer to run the port injectors, and then also a whole factory system, which is what's in this truck. So basically you're paying extra for the full Holley system, and it's nice. It's got wide bands. You can even hook up a Holley screen in the truck if you do wish, which is pretty cool. So that is going to be the main difference in there. Also, the LT5 utilizes a dry sump oiling system. There's a little bit of extra cost in there. You're looking at about $600 for the tank. Plus, we had it powder coated. By the time you buy all the Dash 12 lines and fittings, probably add another $350 in there. And that'll give you a good idea of what you guys are running difference-wise for the LT5 to the LT4. Also, the ZR1500 truck, we are using AC on this truck. This one will get AC. It's just that drive kit did not work at that time. We did finally find a drive kit that works well with AC and still looks good. We don't have the lines hooked up yet, but the AC is on the truck, wired in, ready to rock and roll. We just need to make the AC lines. Just at the time of this video, we hadn't got to that point yet. The ZR1500 truck, we also upgrade the heat exchanger in the front of the truck. This is a Cordis Performance C7 heat exchanger. It's going to run you about $750. This truck also on the ZR1500, which we will offer it on the ZLs too, is we actually had this cab and the bed transported to our painter, and he painted all the inside, the fenders, the firewall, all underneath the cab and underneath the bed, which did cost a little bit. That's going to run you about $1,700, depending on how bad your truck is and how much work it does need. But that'll kind of give you an estimate of what you're looking at there. And when we get done with these trucks, we take them over to our detailer, Casey Detailing. He's going to charge you about $3,500 to make these things pop like brand new again. As you can see, the paint is perfect on these. And this red truck was not perfect by any means when we picked it up. It did have a lot of swirls and scratches and stuff in the paint that they were able to get out. So they do a really good job. Also, we offer PPF film on the whole tailgate. This one's got it on the roof, the complete hood, and then the whole bottom half of the truck is also PPF'd as well, along with the front bumper. So this does have a lot of PPF. It keeps these trucks kind of preserved for you, so that way you can take them out and drive them and beat on them without the worries of, chipping all your paint and, kind of ruining your investment that you have here. All right, guys, I hope that kind of shed some light on how much just one of these trucks is. It's not just the engine and the transmission that's a big part of the swap. It's everything else that kind of involved with it. And I know just going through it, I missed a lot of stuff, but that should give you a good idea on just kind of what you're looking at on one of these trucks, because they are not cheap to build and they're a lot of work. I mean, when we build these trucks, we're working about 2 months straight at the shop, Monday through Friday for 2 months. So 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., however you put it. But that's how much time it takes to build one of these trucks, about 2 months full time. And that's if we have no parts delays. That's if everything comes back from powder coating on time, paint, all that good stuff. So hope that kind of clears the air with the trucks, and hope you can see the value that I see in them. These things are awesome. They're a blast to drive. And can't wait for y'all to see them in person. I know a lot of y'all have seen the teal truck. I know a lot of y'all have seen the teal truck in person and were impressed. Wait until you see the red ZR1500. It's gonna blow your minds. We'll have it at TX2K this weekend. They're in Baytown, Texas. So if you see us, we'll have the truck with us in the pits. Make sure you stop, check out the truck. Look forward to seeing y'all there. But that's it, guys. We'll see you down in Texas for all you that are going, but we'll see you later. Make sure you subscribe. And that will do it for today's video.